Hello and welcome to another episode of the Crimson Podcast. I'm your host, Ben Ballion, alongside Andrew Tropp, and today we're joined by another candidate for the Board of Education. Miss Gillis, how's it going?
It's going well, thank you. What about for you guys?
It's going well.
It's going well.
No complaints. All right, well, let's just jump right into this. So, first question we'd like to ask is just what makes you the most qualified candidate for the Board of Education?
Of the four opponents?
Of the four opponents.
The four candidates, I mean.
Candidates.
I believe I'm the best candidate because I am pro-parent. I believe parents should have a large role in their child's education, and we should not keep parents away from knowing information about their students, about their children.
All right, and what will you do to make the Somerset Hills School District the best it could possibly be?
Well, I've been working on that for the last 3 years. I've gotten some traction. I got on the board and learned we were not servicing the bilingual children by the letter of the law. So we, 2 years ago, started a kindergarten bilingual self-contained classroom. This year it moved up from K, it's still there, to first grade. We added another bilingual classroom. And I hope to have a second grade bilingual classroom. That's how best to service the ELL students. It's been proven the best way to have them transition into language. And I hope we continue with that, adding another grade. And my dream is to add a third grade.
All right, awesome. And if you had to give your top 3 reasons why a family should, look to go to school, send their kids to school in the Somerset Hills School District, what would those reasons be?
Well, it's a beautiful community. I think it's a tight-knit community. People are always ready to help one another. Also, the school district, I'm very happy with it. And we have had some really excellent teachers. My children, all 3 of them. We've been blessed with beyond good teachers. Teachers who gave their time when they didn't have to after school or during lunch. It was just very impressive and very heartwarming. A third reason, again, I just have to go back to the community. It's such a nice community to raise your children with the schools, with the sporting events, with the community events. I would not choose a different town if I were looking again.
And then as we wrap up this episode, what's one sentence or a short message of why voters should vote for Sylvia Gillis?
I believe voters should vote for me because I am the only candidate who is pro-parent, who wants parents involved in their child's education and not to have concerns swept under the rug or dismissed. We have parents who have true concerns and they want answers. And all of my material is pro-parent. I'm on the side of the parent and the school. I think they can couple and form a nice relationship in educating the child, the student, as partners, rather than it's all on the school. I want parents to have some say in what their children are learning.
All right, that'll do it for another episode of the Crimson Podcast. For Andrew Tropp, I'm Ben Ballion. Another thank you to Sylvia Gillis for joining us on this episode, and we'll talk to you soon on the Crimson.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Crimson Podcast. I'm your host, Jack Martin, joined by Ben Ballion, and we have 2 very special guests today running for the Board of Education, Mrs. Libera and Mrs. Hunt. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much.
All right, so quick and simple, straight to the point. What makes you guys the most qualified candidates for the Board of Education?
We are both dedicated volunteers. We've been volunteering for at least 5 years and have just served the SHSD community with all we've got. And
I think that we both would not ask anyone else to do something that we aren't willing to. So we have, we both were co-presidents together last year. Kelly has now moved on to the BMS HSA board. I'm still at Bedwell as co-president. And we have worked really collaboratively with teachers and administrators.
And then moving right along, what will you guys do to make the Somerset Hills School District better as a whole?
I think I bring a nice, fresh perspective. I've had 2 children that have gone through all three schools, and I have two children that are currently one at middle school and one at Bedwell. So I have that unique perspective, and I hope that we can help families that are looking for help and bring that to the administrator's attention.
Absolutely, yeah. If you look at the board now, you'll notice that there are no representatives from Bedwell, and I think even the lower grades at BMS. So I think it's important to add that perspective to the board. Also, Allison and I just work really collaboratively well together and with others, and I think to find solutions that will help all students be challenged.
So if you were to give the top 3 reasons for why someone should raise their child in the Somerset Hill School District, what would they be and why?
My first number one always is our teachers. We have just the most amazing staff. I don't imagine that there is a school district with better teachers. That's my first. I know that we're ranked maybe 50th or so in the state, which actually is pretty great. A thing that I look for is that my students are challenged, and they really have been in every opportunity that they've been given. So I think all 3 of those speak really highly to what our district does well.
I have to agree. Our teachers are amazing. I think that our students have the most special experiences because of the teachers and the things that each teacher uniquely brings to the school. I also like the size of our school. It is a small size, so it is a close-knit community. And I think that the community as a whole is a wonderful place to raise your children.
Yeah, and then as we wrap up this episode, what's one sentence or a short message of why voters should vote for Hunt and Librera?
As a team or individually?
As a team.
All right. Well, as a team, Allison and I have just always worked really, really well together. We're thoughtful, curious, and I think really fair-minded, and we'll bring that to the board.
I also would like to add on that we are not afraid of listening to other people's opinions that may differ from ours, and being very thoughtful when listening to other people.
All right. Well, thank you guys for coming on. I appreciate it. That'll about do it for this episode of the Crimson Podcast. I've been your host, Jack Martin, joined by Ben Ballion and our special guest, Mrs. Hunt and Ms. Librera. Thank you for coming on, and we will catch you later.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Crimson Podcast. My name is Charlie Quinn, joined today by Karen Bonk and our wonderful guest, Mrs. Rye, who's running for Board of Education. Yeah, let's get started. So, Mrs. Rye, what makes you the most qualified candidate for the Board of Ed?
Well, I probably wouldn't say I'm the most qualified candidate for the Board of Ed because there's 4 people running, and I think all of them are qualified. What makes me someone who wanted to run, I've been on the Board of Ed for 6 years. The reason I ran initially was because I was a frequent visitor to Board of Ed meetings, and there were things that I thought were not going well necessarily in the district, and I wanted to have a bigger voice at the table than I had as a member of the public. And so I ran, and I got elected. And then 3 years ago, I got reelected. And the reason I'd like to get reelected to a 3rd term is something I call institutional memory. There's a lot of things I now know from 6 years of work on the board that perhaps other people don't know. And I'd like to be able to continue some of the work that I've done over the past 6 years and bring it to fruition.
So, what will you do to make the school district better as a member of the Board of Ed?
Well, a couple of things that I've worked on and have done is, over the past 6 years, and I know this probably means something to the 2 of you, we've brought lighting to the field. We also resurfaced the track. But other than that, things that maybe you're not so much aware of is we now have a pre-K, not pre-K, excuse me, I'm sorry. We now have a kindergarten that's bilingual and a 1st grade that's bilingual. When I first was going to board meetings, I talked about serving the community, the Hispanic community in town. As a matter of fact, if I go very far back, one of my complaints was that notifications weren't sent home in Spanish. Now that changed, and we're talking very far back, like when my son was in kindergarten, and he's 23 years old now, so that's a long time ago. But I'm really proud, having worked on the curriculum committee, to bring both the bilingual kindergarten and now the bilingual first grade to the district, and to have worked on that with both teachers and the rest of the committee.
Yeah. So if you had to give your top 3 reasons as to why a family should raise their kids in the school district, what would they be?
Well, I'll tell you why we moved to Bernardsville. When we moved here, we lived in Basking Ridge, and our son was 2 years old. And my husband had gone to private school, and I had gone K-12 public. And we had a pretty good debate in our house about whether to send our child to public or private school. Now, I was a public school teacher. I taught public school for 42 years. So I bet you can guess what side I was on. But the one thing I knew from my education was I always went to fairly small schools in my district. And my husband's school was even smaller. I mean, he really had a graduating class that was about 100 people. Mine wasn't nearly that small. And when we looked at how many people were in the graduating classes at that time over in Basking Ridge, I just thought it was way too big. So we looked only in Bernardsville. I think we looked at every house for sale at the time in Bernardsville, and we finally found our house because this was where we wanted to raise our son. It had a very good school system, and it has consistently had a good school system. It made him a part of community. When I say part of community, it's not only him, but it's us too. People that see us know who we are. And I bet people that see you know who you are too. Now, that can work against you sometimes when you're not doing things maybe you should be doing. But it's always good to be part of community. And I just feel like that's the best part of Bernardsville. As a matter of fact, that's the sign you see when you come over the bridge into town. You know, small community. And the schools are really the heart of this community, the schools, and I would probably add the library. But we always felt welcomed here, and we always felt like our son was appreciated and recognized here. And even today, when I walk around, people always ask, and he graduated in 2020, how is your son? How is he doing? And people care.
And could you give us one sentence to say why someone should vote for you?
One sentence. It's really hard for me to say one sentence about anything. No, I can't give you one sentence. I'll be absolutely honest about that. Vote for me because you think that I'm the best fit for this district.
Once again, we're your hosts, Cameron Bong and Charlie Quinn, and thank you to our wonderful guest, Mrs. Rye.
We'll see you on the next episode.